Sir, the red sticker is gone. Maya Brooks said it from beside the cleaning cart, so softly that the nurse holding the medication tray stopped before anyone else understood why. The private hospital room went quiet around Lorenzo Caruso's bed, quiet enough for the monitor beside him to sound louder than the city traffic moving far below the glass wall. Lorenzo sat against raised pillows in a charcoal patient robe, his Caruso signet ring still on his right hand, his father's old silver watch resting beside a black medical file. A pen waited between his fingers above the Allergy update confirmation, less than a breath from becoming his signature. Dr. Adrian Vale stood at the foot of the bed in a smooth white coat, calm and polished, while Lorenzo's fiancée leaned close with a folder of forms and a careful smile. "It is only a small hospital update," she had said moments earlier. "Sign it, Lorenzo. Then they can give you the medicine." The tray was already beside the bed on a rolling stand, arranged with clear packets, printed labels, and a sealed syringe so neatly that danger looked like order. Nadine Brooks froze near the counter with a cleaning cloth still in one hand, her daughter standing at her side in a pale pink jacket, a little bare backpack slipping from one shoulder. Maya was 4 years old, black, quiet with strangers, and too small for the room full of adults who believed every important thing should come from someone wearing a badge. But she lifted the clipboard with both hands and pointed at the allergy list. "It was read before," she whispered. "Now it is sticky." Lorenzo's eyes moved from the unsigned paper to the clipboard. Most of the list was printed in clean black ink. One line had been crossed out in blue. Beside that line, a faint rectangular patch of glue caught the hospital light, the ghost of a warning sticker that had been peeled away. On Lorenzo's wrist, his hospital band still carried the old red allergy warning. The clipboard and the body it was supposed to protect did not agree. Dr. Vale stepped forward before Lorenzo could speak. "That is likely an outdated working copy," he said, his voice smooth and fast. "Children notice colors before they understand updates." His fingers brushed the silver pen cap in his coat pocket. A tiny click sounded. Maya looked at the pen cap, then back at the sticky place on the paper. Lorenzo saw both movements. He had spent his life watching adults hide ugly intentions inside clean language. He had seen danger written as policy, loyalty, concern, and signature. He had not decided the child was right. He had only decided the doctor wanted the clipboard dismissed before anyone compared it to his wrist. "Bring it here," Lorenzo said. Nadine's face went pale. "Mr. Caruso, I am sorry. She picked it up near my cart. She does not know what any of that means." Maya shook her head, her fingers tightening around the board. "I did not read it." Her thumb hovered beside the blue line. "I saw the red go away." Lorenzo lifted his wrist slowly, showing the red allergy warning on the band. His fiancée reached toward the clipboard with a soft voice meant for frightened children and powerful men. "Sweetheart, give me that. We do not want you getting blamed." Maya pulled the board closer to her jacket. The metal clip caught the light. On its edge was a tiny gold star sticker, crooked and wrinkled, the kind a waiting child might press onto something while her mother finished work. It sat near the same side as the missing red warning. Lorenzo looked at the star, the glue mark, the blue line, the medication tray, then the pen still hovering above his signature. Dr. Vale smiled gently. "Mr. Caruso, delaying medication over a child's misunderstanding could create unnecessary risk." Lorenzo lowered the pen onto the blanket without signing. The sound was almost nothing, but every adult in the room heard it like an order. A warning does not vanish 5 minutes before medicine unless someone wanted the room quieter than the truth. The nurse stopped breathing for half a second. Nadine held Maya tighter. The fiancé's hand froze in the air. Lorenzo pointed to the bedside table. "Clipboard beside my wristband. Tray stays untouched. No medicine goes into me until the paper matches the patient." Dr. Vale's silver pen cap clicked once more, smaller this time, but in that room, even the smallest sound had begun to testify. The nurse made the missing warning sound less important than Maya's hands. She looked at the clipboard now lying beside Lorenzo Caruso's wristband, then at the little girl in the pale pink jacket, and her mouth tightened with the confidence of someone who knew which person in the room could be blamed safely. "That is patient material," she said. "A child should not have had it." Nadine Brooks pulled Maya closer so quickly the bare backpack slipped lower on her daughter's shoulder. "I am sorry," Nadine said, her voice small under the monitor's steady beeping. "She was beside my cart. I told her not to touch anything." The floor manager appeared at the doorway with a tablet already open, his expression polished into policy before he had even read the page. "Mr. Caruso, we apologize for the disturbance. Staff children are not permitted in private patient spaces, especially during medication administration." He turned toward Nadine, not the clipboard. "Mrs. Brooks, you and your daughter need to step outside." Maya's eyes dropped to the floor. She was no longer holding the board, but the tiny gold star she had placed on the metal clip still sat crookedly beside the sticky rectangle where the red warning had been. Lorenzo watched the adults gather around the child instead of the evidence. Dr. Adrian Vale stayed at the foot of the bed, calm enough to sound generous. "No one is blaming her," he said, which made Nadine look even more frightened. "Children pick up things. They notice colors. They do not understand clinical updates." Lorenzo looked at the red warning on his wristband, the blue line on the clipboard, and the medication tray waiting beside the bed. "Then the update can survive being checked." His fiancée stepped toward Maya with a soft smile, bending slightly as if kindness could make the clipboard disappear more cleanly. "Sweetheart, let me take care of that. We do not want you getting your mommy in trouble." Her hand reached toward the board before she looked at the crossed-out line. Lorenzo noticed. Maya leaned into Nadine's skirt and whispered, "I did not write the blue line. I only touched my star." The nurse's eyes flicked down to her own scrub pocket. A blue pen was clipped there, the same shade as the line across the allergy entry. Lorenzo followed the glance. The floor manager cleared his throat. "Mrs. Brooks, this is why personal complications cannot interfere with clinical operations." Nadine swallowed. The words landed on her badge, her paycheck, her insurance, and every door that badge needed to open tomorrow. Dr. Vale used the silence like a clean sheet pulled over something stained. "Mr. Caruso, the safest course is to remove unnecessary distraction and proceed through proper channels." Lorenzo's face did not move, but his voice cooled. "Proper channels just blamed a 4-year-old before reading the warning she pointed at." The room went still. Maya did not understand all the words, but she understood that her mother had not been sent away. The nurse's hand drifted toward the blue pen. "Leave it," Lorenzo said. Her hand stopped. He looked at her pocket. "Is that your pen?" The nurse glanced at Dr. Vale for less than a second. It was quick, almost nothing, and too much. "It is a standard hospital pen," she said. Maya looked from the pen to the clipboard. "That color," she whispered. The nurse forced a small smile. "Lots of things are blue, sweetheart." Maya pressed one thumb against the sticker sheet in her small hand. "But the other words are black." The sentence was too simple to step over without leaving a mark. Lorenzo pointed to the bedside table. "Clipboard stays. Blue pen stays. Medication tray stays. My wristband stays on me. Allergy confirmation stays and signed." The floor manager started to object, but Lorenzo looked at him until the words died in his throat. "Mrs. Brooks stays where I can see her. Her daughter is not removed so the room can become easier to clean." Nadine blinked hard, stunned by protection coming from the bed instead of punishment from the door. His fiancée lowered her hand, empty. Dr. Vale touched the silver pen cap in his coat pocket, and the tiny click returned. Maya heard it and looked up. Lorenzo heard it too. For the first time, he was no longer watching the child who had noticed the missing warning. He was watching every adult who needed her to stop noticing. Lorenzo did not ask Maya to read the allergy list. He asked her to show him what changed. That difference made the private hospital room quieter than any raised voice could have. Maya Brooks stood beside Nadine with one pink sleeve pulled over her hand, her eyes moving between the clipboard, the blue pen, and the red warning still wrapped around Lorenzo's wrist. The clipboard lay on the bedside table beside the medication tray and the unsigned allergy confirmation, no longer just a piece of paper, no longer just something a child should not have touched. Dr. Adrian Vale watched from the foot of the bed with the same calm face, but his hand stayed near the silver pen cap in his coat pocket. Lorenzo pointed to the crossed-out line. "Only what you saw." Maya nodded carefully. She touched the air above the paper without putting her finger on it. "This was not blue," she said. The nurse shifted. "Children can confuse colors under hospital lights." Maya looked at the rest of the page, then back at the line. "Those are black." She pointed to the pen in the nurse's pocket. "That is blue," Nadine whispered. "Baby, just answer Mr. Caruso." Maya nodded again, then pointed to the sticky rectangle on the page. "The red was here." Her voice became smaller. "By my star." Lorenzo looked at the tiny gold star on the metal clip, crooked and wrinkled, sitting near the place where a warning sticker had once been. "Where was the board when you put your star there?" he asked. Maya turned toward the cleaning cart near the counter. "On Mommy's cart. Sideways." She lifted both hands and tilted them to show the angle. "Mommy was wiping. I put star here. Red sticker was close." Dr. Vale gave a patient smile. "Mr. Caruso, children often build a story around one remembered object." Lorenzo did not look away from Maya. "Did you see who moved it?" Maya looked at the doctor's white coat, then at the nurse, then at the clipboard. She shook her head. "No face. White sleeve. Shiny pen." The room tightened around those two words. Lorenzo's eyes moved, not quickly, to the silver pen cap in Dr. Vale's pocket. Dr. Vale touched it before he seemed to realize he had moved. Click. Maya flinched slightly, then pointed toward the sound. "Like that." Nadine pulled her daughter closer. "Maya." Lorenzo lifted one hand, not to stop the child, but to stop the room from making her carry too much. "She is not accusing anyone," he said. "She is identifying what she heard and saw." His fiancée stepped closer, her voice soft enough to sound reasonable. "Lorenzo, she is 4. She saw a sticker and a pen, and now everyone is connecting things that may not belong together." Lorenzo looked at the red warning on his wristband. "Then we disconnect them properly." He turned back to Maya. "After the white sleeve moved the board, what changed?" Maya pointed to the clipboard again. "Blue line came. Red sticker gone. Nurse had it." The nurse's mouth tightened. "That is not how chart updates work." Lorenzo's eyes settled on her. "Good. Then showing me how they do work should be simple." Maya looked down, as if she had said too much, but her little hand stayed near her sticker sheet. "I only know where the red was," she whispered. Lorenzo heard her. "That is enough." The words changed Nadine's face, not into relief, not yet, but into the shock of watching someone powerful refuse to let her child be treated as trouble. Dr. Vale's smile thinned. "Children remember colors better than facts." Lorenzo finally looked at him fully. "Exactly. She has not given me facts. She has given me colors. Now we will see why the facts are afraid of them." He pointed to the phone by the bedside station. "Call the charge nurse." The floor manager straightened near the door. "Mr. Caruso, a formal review may be unnecessary at this stage." Lorenzo lifted his wrist so the red allergy warning faced the room. "Unnecessary was the word you used before the medicine tray arrived with a chart that did not match the patient." No one touched the tray. No one touched the clipboard. The blue line sat across the page, the sticky rectangle shone faintly where the red sticker had been, and Dr. Vale's silver pen cap stayed still in his pocket only because everyone was now watching it. The charge nurse arrived with a calm that made everyone else seem too loud. She stepped into Lorenzo Caruso's private hospital room, silver at her temples, navy scrubs pressed clean, her badge clipped straight, and she looked first at the patient, then at the untouched medication tray, then at the clipboard under the bedside light. Lorenzo did not tell the whole story again. He only pointed to 3 objects lined up beside his father's old silver watch. Wristband. Clipboard. Tray. Dr. Adrian Vale gave a controlled nod, as if a simple check could not possibly harm the explanation he had already prepared. Of course, he said. But I should note that wristbands can sometimes lag behind the electronic chart. The charge nurse lifted Lorenzo's wrist carefully and read the red allergy warning on the band. Then she read the clipboard, where the same allergy had been crossed out with a blue line. Last, she picked up the medication sheet from the tray and moved her finger down the label. Halfway through, her finger stopped. Maya Brooks noticed before anyone spoke. She leaned against Nadine's skirt and whispered. Her finger stopped. Nadine touched her daughter's shoulder, afraid even a true sentence could cost them something. Lorenzo heard it anyway. Say what your finger found, he told the charge nurse. The bedside nurse looked down. Dr. Vale's hand moved toward the silver pen cap in his coat pocket, then stayed there, trapped by the attention now resting on him. The charge nurse read the label again, slower this time. This order includes a compound related to the allergy still printed on his wristband. The private room lost its warmth in degrees. The fiancée moved closer to Lorenzo's bed, her softness thinner now. But Dr. Vale said the allergy list had been updated. The charge nurse opened the medication safety policy on the tablet. She did not lecture. She only tapped one line. If an allergy is removed or changed, the wristband must be replaced before medication is prepared for bedside administration. That is the safety checkpoint. Dr. Vale stepped in smoothly. The electronic chart is the governing record. The wristband may simply not have synchronized yet. Lorenzo looked at the sealed syringe, the printed medication sheet, then the red warning still wrapped around his wrist. If my bracelet is outdated, why is the medicine already on time? No one liked the question because it left no comfortable place to stand. Maya pointed from Lorenzo's wristband to the clipboard. His bracelet did not change. Her voice was small, but the test had made it useful. Dr. Vale turned toward her with professional softness. Sweetheart, medical systems can be complicated. Lorenzo cut in before the child could be made smaller. She is not explaining the system. She is pointing at the part that did not move. The charge nurse looked at the bedside nurse. Was a new wristband printed? The nurse swallowed. I was told the update cleared the warning. The charge nurse did not soften. That is not what I asked? The nurse's eyes flicked to Dr. Vale, then back to the floor. No new wristband was printed. Lorenzo's face went still. He had not believed Maya because she looked frightened. He believed the 3 objects because they disagreed in the exact order required to protect him. His fiancée folded her hands together, her voice gentle and strained. Lorenzo, they caught it. That is what matters. Let them correct it without turning the room into an investigation. Lorenzo looked at her. The room became an investigation when the correction arrived after the drug. Dr. Vale's thumb pressed the silver pen cap. Click. Maya looked toward the sound, then quickly back at the tray. Shiny pen, she whispered. Nadine bent close. Baby, quiet now. Lorenzo did not ask Maya to continue. He pointed to the tablet in the charge nurse's hands. Open the allergy edit history. The floor manager stepped forward from the doorway. Mr. Caruso, that review is typically handled through administration. Lorenzo slowly pulled his wrist farther away from the tray. The medicine is not in administration. It is beside my bed. The charge nurse signed into the allergy reconciliation screen. Dr. Vale's calm narrowed by 1 degree. We should avoid creating panic over what may be a synchronization delay. Lorenzo's voice dropped. Then prove it is delay. The tablet asked for access to the edit history. The charge nurse paused and looked up. This will show who changed it and when. Lorenzo did not blink. Good, he said. Let the chart tell us which adult moved faster than the warning. The clipboard, the wristband, and the medication tray remained lined up on the table, 3 ordinary objects that no longer knew how to lie beautifully. The allergy edit history opened without a sound, and that made it feel colder than an alarm. No red banner flashed on the charge nurse's tablet. No warning tone told the room that a safety checkpoint had been moved out of the way. There was only a pale hospital screen filled with timestamps, usernames, blank fields, and one line that made the charge nurse's finger stop again. Lorenzo Caruso watched from the raised pillows, his wrists still turned so the red allergy warning faced the clipboard. The medication tray remained untouched beside the bed, sealed and waiting, while the blue line across the allergy list looked darker under the room light. Maya Brooks stood close to Nadine, her little bare backpack hanging from one shoulder, her eyes fixed on the blue pen because it was the only part of the grown-up screen she could understand without reading it. The charge nurse read carefully. Allergy entry removed at 9:42 this morning. The bedside nurse's face tightened. Dr. Adrian Vale stayed calm, but his hand moved toward the silver pen cap in his coat pocket. Lorenzo did not look away from the tablet. Who changed it? The charge nurse tapped the audit field. User account belongs to the bedside nurse assigned to this room. The floor manager exhaled, almost relieved, as if one staff name made the problem smaller. Then this may be a documentation error. The bedside nurse lifted her head quickly. I was following the update. Dr. Vale spoke before she could say more. Administrative cleanup, he said, his voice smooth enough to cover the room. The chart contained outdated allergy information. It needed reconciliation before medication. Lorenzo looked from the tablet to the wristband to the tray. A cleanup leaves a reason. A cover-up leaves a blank. The charge nurse scrolled lower. Reason field is blank. She tapped again. No second signature. Another tap. No allergy reconciliation note. Another. No order to replace the wristband. Each phrase landed quietly, but each one made the tray beside the bed look less like treatment and more like something that had arrived before truth finished catching up. The fiancé stepped closer, one hand hovering near the folder of unsigned forms. Lorenzo, this sounds like a process issue. Let them correct it without turning everything into a fight. Lorenzo's eyes moved to her hand. Do not touch that folder. She stopped. Maya looked at the folder too, then at the clipboard. That paper is clean, she whispered. Nadine bent down. Baby, please. Maya lowered her voice even more. No star. Lorenzo heard it. He did not ask the child to explain paperwork. He asked the charge nurse, was a new allergy list printed after 9:42? The charge nurse opened the print log. One summary printed at 9:44. She looked at the clipboard on the table. This appears to be that copy. Lorenzo pointed to the metal clip where Maya's gold star sticker sat wrinkled and crooked. Then why is her star on the clip of a copy printed after she says she touched it by the cart before the sticker disappeared? The room went still in a different way. The paper might have changed, but the clip had remembered the child's touch. The floor manager frowned at the clipboard as if seeing it for the first time. The bedside nurse looked toward Dr. Vale. It was less than a second, but Lorenzo caught it. Dr. Vale's silver pen cap clicked under his thumb. Maya's eyes flicked to the sound. Shiny pen, she murmured. Dr. Vale offered a patient smile. Children connect objects that are not necessarily related. Lorenzo's voice cut through the softness. Adults connect missing signatures with risk. He pointed to the tablet. Lock that screen. Photograph every field. Export the audit history. Seal the clipboard. Seal the blue pen. Seal the tray. No corrections. No new notes. No updated allergy entry after this moment without my attorney watching. The floor manager stepped forward. Mr. Caruso, these reviews are normally moved through administration. Lorenzo turned his wrist slightly so the red warning faced him. The risk was brought to my bed. The review stays with the patient. The charge nurse opened one more audit detail. The tray had been scanned into the room 4 minutes after the allergy was removed. 4 minutes between a blank field and a prepared medication. Nadine pulled Maya closer, but Maya did not cry. She only looked at the sticky rectangle where the red sticker had been and pressed her thumb against the remaining stars on her sheet. The charge nurse asked the question the screen had forced into the room. Who instructed the allergy removal? The bedside nurse looked at the tablet, then at the tray, then at Dr. Vale's silver pen. Her mouth opened. No name came out. Lorenzo's eyes went cold. Then pull the printer history and the cameras, he said. If the chart forgot the reason, maybe the machines remembered the red. The printer did not look like a witness. It sat behind the nurse's station in the hallway, plain, beige, and almost forgotten, the kind of machine people only noticed when it jammed. But when the charge nurse opened its temporary print history from the tablet in Lorenzo Caruso's room, the machine gave back what the chart had tried to lose. There is an earlier allergy summary, she said. Printed at 9:37 this morning. The room went still around the number. Lorenzo remained against the raised pillows, his red warning wristband visible above the blanket, while the untouched medication tray sat beside him like a question nobody wanted to answer. Dr. Adrian Vale's face stayed calm. Printer caches can retain outdated drafts, he said. That does not mean the current chart is wrong. The charge nurse enlarged the saved print preview. Same patient name. Same record number. Same room. Same date. But the allergy line was not crossed out, and the red warning sticker appeared exactly where Maya Brooks had said it was, beside the spot where her gold star now sat on the metal clip. Maya did not read the words. She only leaned forward from Nadine's side and pointed with one careful finger. Red, she whispered. The sound was small, but it changed the room more than any accusation could have. Lorenzo looked at Dr. Vale. The child remembered the red. Now the machine does too. The floor manager tried to recover the room with procedure. A cached image may not reflect the final approved record. The charge nurse scrolled to the next print entry. Final allergy summary printed at 9:44. She placed both previews side by side on the screen. At 9:37, the red warning remained. At 9:44, the line was crossed in blue and the sticker was gone. Between those two prints sat the 9:42 deletion with no reason, no second signature, no reconciliation note, and no wristband order. The missing minutes no longer felt empty. They felt crowded. Nadine's hand tightened around Maya's shoulder. She had spent years cleaning rooms where decisions were made above her pay grade, where a misplaced towel could become a report, where speaking at the wrong time could cost a shift. Now her daughter's sticker was sitting in the middle of a hospital record, and every adult in power looked less comfortable than the child. Lorenzo turned to hospital legal. Seal both print previews. Export the printer history. No deletion, no refresh, no replacement. Dr. Vale's thumb brushed the silver pen cap in his pocket. Click. Mr. Caruso, this is still not proof of intent. Lorenzo's eyes stayed on the screen. No. It is proof the warning existed before someone made it disappear. The charge nurse opened the camera thumbnail from the nurse's station at 9:40. The first image froze on Dr. Vale standing beside the counter with a narrow folded checklist in his hand. The bedside nurse stood in front of him. The clipboard was on the counter, then on Nadine's cleaning cart for a few seconds while she wiped the edge of the station. Maya was visible near the cart, small in her pale pink jacket, pressing her gold star onto the clip while the red warning sticker sat beside it. She was not sneaking. She was waiting for her mother. The floor manager said. The video does not have audio. Lorenzo answered without looking at him. It has hands. The thumbnail advanced. Dr. Vale leaned closer to the bedside nurse. The nurse removed the blue pen from her pocket. The clipboard shifted. The camera had not yet shown the whole sequence, but it had shown enough to make the room colder. The fiancée moved near the chair where her phone rested face down. Lorenzo saw her hand angle toward it. Leave it, he said. She stopped. Lorenzo, you are turning confusion into a courtroom. He looked from the saved print with the red sticker to the edited print without it. No. Someone turned my chart into a quiet room and hoped I would sign inside it. Maya looked up at the word sign, then at the folder near the bed. She did not understand documents. She understood that the adults kept looking at paper before they looked at Lorenzo. The charge nurse prepared to open the full camera feed, and hospital legal began recording. On the tablet, the frozen thumbnail held Dr. Vale's white sleeve, the checklist in his hand, the blue pen near the clipboard, and Maya's star beside the red warning. Lorenzo's voice dropped to a level that made no one interrupt. Now show me who stood between the red sticker and the blue line. The full camera feed did not shout. It did not accuse. It simply played the morning back in clean, silent seconds while every adult in Lorenzo Caruso's room watched their own explanations lose space. At 9:41, Dr. Adrian Vale stood at the nurse's station with the folded checklist in his hand. At 9:42, the bedside nurse stood in front of the terminal. Her account opened Lorenzo's allergy list. Her blue pen rested against the clipboard. On the screen, the charge nurse paused the image and enlarged the nurse's hand, crossing the line on the paper copy while the electronic allergy entry changed at the same time. Dr. Vale said, "That is a clinical workflow. A checklist can direct standard reconciliation." His voice stayed even, but his thumb found the silver pen cap again. Click. Maya Brooks stood beside Nadine, her little bear backpack against her side, and watched the silent screen the way a child watches a window. She did not know what reconciliation meant. She only saw the white sleeve, the blue pen, and the place where red had been. "That is when it got clean," she whispered. The word made Lorenzo's fiancée move before she could stop herself. Her phone lay face down on the chair near the folder of unsigned forms. It buzzed once, lighting the edge against the vinyl seat. Maya was small enough for the bright preview to sit at her eye level. She leaned slightly, not reaching, only looking. "Clean means no red sticker?" she asked. The room froze around the child's question. Lorenzo turned his head toward the phone. "Read it," he said. His fiancée placed her hand over the screen. "It is private." Lorenzo's eyes moved from her hand to the unsigned allergy confirmation on the table. "My medical consent is private too. Yet everyone here wanted my signature." Hospital legal stepped closer and recorded the screen when she lifted her hand slowly. The preview was short, but it was enough. "Keep the line clean until he signs." No one spoke for 3 full monitor beeps. Dr. Vale said, "That phrase could mean keeping documentation organized." Lorenzo looked at the old print with the red warning, then at the edited clipboard without it. "Clean for a file is order. Clean from a warning is danger." The bedside nurse's face changed then, not into confession, but into fear of being left alone under the weight of the blue line. The floor manager tried to step between the phone and the table. "We need to move this to administration." Lorenzo let his shoulders sink back into the pillows, and for one careful second, he looked tired enough to give them what they wanted. His voice softened. "Fine. We will follow procedure." Dr. Vale's posture eased. The fiancé exhaled through a small, relieved smile. Even the floor manager looked grateful for the return of process. Then Lorenzo opened his eyes fully. "Procedure begins with preservation." His hand lifted a few inches from the blanket. "Seal the clipboard. Seal the blue pen. Seal the old printer copy. Seal the new print. Seal the tray and batch label. Preserve the camera feed, badge logs, edit history, print history, checklist, phone message, unsigned confirmation, and every authorization form in that folder." The room turned cold again. Lorenzo looked to the charge nurse. "No one updates my allergy record, deletes a note, prints a replacement, moves the tray, or speaks to Mrs. Brooks or her daughter alone." Nadine blinked at the sound of her name. She had been standing in the same room where her job had almost been used as a muzzle. Lorenzo continued, "Mrs. Brooks and Maya are protected witnesses until this review is complete. Their shift, pay, badge access, insurance, personnel file, and assignment do not change because a child remembered a sticker." Nadine's hand trembled on Maya's shoulder. Maya looked up at her mother. "Mommy keeps work?" Nadine could not answer. Lorenzo did. "Yes. Then he turned to hospital legal. Call my attorney on a secure tablet. Then call an independent allergist with no connection to this floor. Dr. Vale's silver pen cap clicked once more, sharper this time. Outside review during active treatment can create confusion. Lorenzo looked at the medication tray. Confusion began when the warning left the paper before it left my wrist. Within minutes, Lorenzo's attorney appeared on the secure tablet, and an independent allergy specialist joined from another New York medical office. The charge nurse showed the wristband, the crossed-out clipboard, the old printer copy, the 942 deletion, the missing second signature, the missing wristband order, the tray label, the camera feed, and the message on the phone. The specialist did not raise his voice. He only asked the question that made every polite explanation collapse. Why was the allergy removed before the wristband was changed and before the medication was administered? The question from the independent allergist stayed in the air longer than any accusation could have. Why was the allergy removed before the wristband was changed and before the medication was administered? No one in Lorenzo Caruso's private hospital room rushed to answer because the answer had already begun arranging itself across the bedside table. The room that had nearly pushed Maya Brooks and her mother into the hallway now held them as protected witnesses, with hospital legal recording, the charge nurse standing near the evidence, Lorenzo's attorney watching through a secure tablet, and the independent specialist waiting on video with the tray label enlarged beside Lorenzo's original allergy record. Lorenzo stayed against the pillows, still pale, still in a charcoal patient robe, still attached to the monitor that counted each steady beat, but every object on the table now pointed away from weakness and toward control. The old allergy print from 937 showed the red warning still present. The new print from 944 showed the blue line and the missing sticker. The clipboard carried the sticky rectangle where the warning had been removed. Maya's crooked gold star sat on the metal clip, beside the very place she had remembered. The blue pen lay sealed in a plastic evidence sleeve. Lorenzo's wristband still carried the warning that the paper tried to erase. The medication tray and batch label waited untouched. The log showed 942 with no reason, no second signature, no allergy reconciliation note, and no wristband replacement order. The camera showed Dr. Adrian Vale with the checklist, the bedside nurse with the blue pen, the clipboard on Nadine's cleaning cart, and Maya beside it. The phone message read, "Keep the line clean until he signs." Lorenzo looked at the floor manager. "No summaries," he said. "Facts." The charge nurse read the chain out loud, one step at a time, and each step made the first accusation against Maya sound smaller, uglier, and less defensible. Dr. Vale leaned slightly toward the tablet screen. "This review is happening without complete bedside context." The independent allergist did not move. "The bedside context is on the patient's wrist, on the tray, and in the deletion log." He enlarged the medication label. "The compound on this tray is related to the allergy that was removed. Under standard safety practice, that medication should not have reached bedside administration while the wristband still warned against it and while the removal lacked proper reconciliation." The bedside nurse closed her eyes for 1 second. The floor manager stopped typing. The fiancée stood very still beside the chair where her phone had betrayed the word clean. Dr. Vale touched the silver pen cap in his pocket. Click. Lorenzo turned his head toward him. "That sound follows the truth every time it gets near you." Dr. Vale's calm did not break. It sharpened. "Mr. Caruso, I understand your concern, but a public escalation could delay treatment, trigger outside investigations, and invite media attention. You have built a name that survives because certain matters are handled discreetly." His fiancée stepped in quickly, softer, more personal. "Lorenzo, please. You will lose control of the story if you make this bigger." Lorenzo looked at her, then at the unsigned allergy confirmation, then at the temporary authorization form that would have given her more voice if he had signed while tired. "I almost lost control of my body before I lost control of any story." The room went silent except for the monitor. Nadine's hand rested on Maya's shoulder, but this time she did not pull her daughter backward. Lorenzo looked at them both. Mrs. Brooks, do you agree to remain for the record? Nadine swallowed. Her badge trembled slightly against her uniform. Yes, sir. Lorenzo nodded, then turned to Maya with a gentleness that did not ask her to be older than 4. Only what you remember. Nothing more. Maya looked at the sealed clipboard, the gold star, and the sticky place. The red was beside my star, she said. Then red was gone. She pointed toward the blue pen without touching it. I did not make the blue. Nadine's eyes filled, but she held herself still. Lorenzo faced the adults again. No diagnosis from a child. No theory from a child. She gave you the place where the warning used to be. Everything else belongs to the grown people who moved it. Hospital legal confirmed the statement was recorded. Lorenzo's attorney requested immediate preservation of all electronic records, camera files, badge logs, print history, medication order history, phone records tied to the consent process, and the tray batch information. The independent allergist recommended stopping the current medication order and transferring care review outside Dr. Vale's team before any replacement treatment. Dr. Vale tried once more, quieter now. Internal handling would be cleaner. Lorenzo looked at the missing red sticker mark on the clipboard. My treatment was delayed the moment truth was removed from my chart. No one reached for the tray. No one reached for the clipboard. No one told Nadine to leave. The room did not explode, it emptied of excuses. And for the first time since Maya had whispered about the missing red sticker, every powerful adult in the room had to stand in front of the same question. Who had tried to make a warning disappear before Lorenzo signed his name? Lorenzo Caruso did not let the room end with a quiet correction. He looked at hospital legal, at the charge nurse, at his attorney on the secure tablet, and at the independent allergist waiting on video, then lifted his wrist so the red warning still wrapped around his body faced every adult who had tried to explain it away. A patient does not owe obedience to a chart that was cleaned of the warning meant to protect him. The words settled over the bedside table, where the sealed clipboard, the old printer copy, the edited print, the blue pen, the medication tray, the batch label, the checklist, the phone message, and the unsigned forms sat under clean hospital light. Dr. Adrian Vale stood near the foot of the bed with his white coat still smooth, but the silver pen in his pocket no longer looked like a doctor's habit. It looked like a small sound the truth had followed all the way to his hand. Lorenzo turned to hospital legal. Cancel the false allergy update. Restore the warning in my electronic chart, my printed medication profile, every active checklist, and my wristband. Stop that tray permanently. Transfer review of my care to the independent specialists before any new medication order is prepared. The charge nurse repeated the orders into the record. The independent allergist confirmed the current tray could not be used. The medication tray was removed from bedside administration and sealed as evidence, not discarded, not corrected, not made clean. Dr. Vale spoke carefully. Mr. Caruso, removal from the case before internal review is premature. Lorenzo looked at the 942 deletion log. The review began when the allergy disappeared without a reason. Hospital legal confirmed Dr. Vale would be removed from Lorenzo's treatment team pending investigation. The bedside nurse was separated from the medication process to give a formal statement with representation, and Lorenzo stopped the floor manager before he could make her the whole answer. Do not bury the plan under the person who held the pen, he said. The evidence follows the checklist, the camera, the badge logs, and the message. The fiancé's face changed when Lorenzo turned toward her. The folder beside the chair still held the allergy confirmation, the medication consent page, and the temporary medical authorization she had wanted him to sign while the room called him tired. Your access to my medical decisions ends now, Lorenzo said. Every pending consent, authorization, and confirmation connected to you is cancelled until independent counsel reviews it. She whispered. I was trying to protect you from panic. Lorenzo lifted the new evidence sleeve containing the phone message. No. You were trying to protect a clean story from an ugly fact. Nadine Brooks stood near the wall with Maya tucked close to her side, still bracing for the part where powerful rooms punished poor people after needing them. Lorenzo looked at them, and his voice changed, not warmer enough to become pity, but steady enough to become protection. Mrs. Brooks, you and your daughter were treated as if truth became misconduct because it came from the wrong hands. That ends in writing. Hospital legal typed as he spoke. Nadine's work schedule, pay, insurance, badge access, personnel file, and floor assignment would be protected. No supervisor, doctor, manager, private employee, or family representative could retaliate against her for Maya's presence, the clipboard, or her testimony. The floor manager, who had first tried to remove them, had to confirm the protection allowed with the charge nurse as witness. Maya looked up at her mother's badge. Mommy keeps her door card. Nadine covered her mouth for one trembling second. Lorenzo answered gently. Yes. Your mommy keeps her door card. The replacement wristband arrived minutes later, printed with the restored allergy warning in red. The charge nurse read it out loud, matched it to the corrected electronic chart, matched it to the independent allergist's note, and only then fastened it around Lorenzo's wrist. The old band was photographed and sealed. The clipboard went into a clear evidence sleeve with the blue line, the sticky rectangle, the gold star, the old red warning from the printer memory, and the batch label logged beside it. Maya peeled one small gold star from her sticker sheet and looked to Nadine for permission. Nadine nodded. Maya placed it on the outside cover of the sealed copy, not on the medical paper, not on Lorenzo's chart, only where it could mark the place she had remembered without changing the evidence. The red was by my star, she whispered. Lorenzo looked at the restored warning on his wrist, then at the sealed clipboard copy. Then your star helped the red find its way back. No one called cameras. No one turned Maya into a hospital poster. No one asked Nadine to be grateful for not being punished. By midnight, Dr. Vale was gone from the case, the fiancé's access was deactivated, the false update was reversed, and the independent specialist had the full chart. Lorenzo was still sick, still tired, still facing whatever treatment came next, but the truth was no longer outside his file. It was on his wrist, in his chart, sealed on the table, and protected in writing for the woman and child who had been told they did not belong in the room where they saved the warning.